Drawing basic objects using an isometric grid. I'm going to show you how to draw this radio in isometric using a grid. It has three main views. The front view with the X and the Y plane, the plan view with the Z and the X plane, and the end view with the Z and the Y plane. We're going to transfer those looking from this front corner, and this point here is going to be at the bottom of our drawing on the grid as our start point. So here is a reminder of our X, our Y and our Z planes related to our product. You're reminded I should be drawing in pencil, but so it shows up on film, I'm drawing in pen. Place your piece of paper over your design grid and usually pick a point down towards the bottom and a reasonable distance in, typically about a third. So I'm going to start here. Start by making a little point on the corner. So you're starting with a little point like that, where the point is on the bottom of one of the squares. Next, draw your baseline in the X direction, tracing the line underneath. Draw it so it looks the right length, and then add the vertical to, again, the height that you want to draw it. You could physically count the squares. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you can complete that top layer by following the grid, and it should meet. So there is our front face of the radio. When you look at the front face, you can then draw the detail on the front face. So you can draw the square for this speaker, you can draw the square for the whole fascia frontage, you can draw the rectangle for the display, and you can even draw the lines and a square to draw the circle inside for the buttons. You can add that detail at a later date. Next, we're going to draw the end rectangle. So we're going to draw that 7 or 8 wide by putting the horizontals in, and then drop the other vertical in. And remember that the drawing at this point looks a little bit like a book that's been opened. In this case, the pages aren't equal. You can then put the top on the object. So the top on the object will go in the X direction along here, and if you're not sure where it finishes, you stop the line a little bit short, and then you can come again in the Z direction, and gradually you'll get to the point where those two lines meet. All the lines that I've drawn are all exactly the same on the isometric grid underneath. I've not drawn any lines that aren't traced directly off the grid. Once you've got your basic frame, you can then start putting your detail on. So the first detail we talked about was putting the frame on for the whole of the fascia. So I'm going to go one square in all the way around, and I'm going to put that fascia on it. And it's got some little 45-degree corners on the wood trim around the outside edge. Next, I'm going to put the display in. So my display I'm going to make 3 wide, and I'm going to draw my display there. And then my display buttons I'm going to put the same width, still 3 wide, but I'm only going to use half a square. So that's my first line that I draw off the grid, but I'm just drawing it parallel to the other one. And then I've got another row immediately below that. And then I've got a circular button which will fit within a square. So I'm going to draw my square as one square like that, and then I'm going to draw my little circle in there. Drawing circles is a bit of an art form, and I'll cover that in another tutorial. The speaker is going to fit on this side, so I'll come in another single square, and I'll put the speaker in here. And the speaker is straight-sided, but has a slight rim on the front a little bit like that. And then we've just got to put the little surround on here that you can start to sketch those details in. So if I put the control knob on there, and I said there's more information about drawing circles on another tutorial. Next we need to put the handle in, so the handle fits along the middle, so I've conveniently done this 7, so I'm going to put my handle in my middle section. I may well use my pencil just to mark where that is, so I'm going 3 up, in which case I'm going to go 3 down. So my handle's going to sit in there. My handle's going to come up 2 squares, so I can actually draw my basic outline framework coming 2 squares up, a little bit like that, and then I can put the actual handle in. Again, it's round, and you'll notice that all the lines I'm still drawing pretty much on the grid. The pencil lines will disappear fairly rapidly. There's some patterning I need to put on here. There's some lettering I could put on here. There's a symbol I need to put on here. But you can see that fairly rapidly you can end up with quite a reasonable 3D design, which you can then put texture on, which you'll find in another tutorial, and you can put rendering and shade and colour and annotation on to show the materials it's made from, both in colour and in written form. This basic framework you can use for any square-based product, and sometimes even for round objects. It's much easier to draw them as units.